Other big news as we continue down with industry news, IBM completed one acquisition, announced another one. They definitely have had an acquisition appetite lately. And you had definitely some, I saw your post on LinkedIn, a couple of the distinct opinions about both of these. So the first was their acquisition of DataStax, and then they also completed their acquisition of HashiCorp. Both good acquisitions for them, I think, in my opinion. But why don't you kind of walk us through and what you think of it?
Yeah, so DataStax has been going to market, is supporting Cassandra, NoSQL database. So fancy way of saying that they are supporting unstructured and semi-structured data in their database store, and then allowing companies to be able to query that data. So obviously, if you're trying to get a bunch of data, put it in one place, and then being able to query it afterwards, either for traditional analytics or for AI, a store like DataStax is a great managed service to be able to do that. And they've been working with IBM pretty closely since, I want to say, 2020 or 2021, because IBM saw the same thing. They wanted to support large enterprise stores and get into the AI game and further into the AI game, and saw DataStax as a good partner. So IBM said, hey, let's just close the deal. We have been working with these guys for a long time, and we want to make sure that we stay close and continue contributing to the Apache Cassandra project. So I think all of these are good reasons for these two companies to be together, and it's a good
So I think
exit for DataStax.
definitely good exit for DataStax. IBM is sort of in the middle ground as far as I'm concerned. I think that they're not as bad as, say, SAP or Broadcom, where if you get acquired by them, you just sort of die in the vine, in my opinion. But I do think that they represent a challenge in that they're just a big giant company and they haven't done a great job. Like, I think they made really good acquisitions and they have a good end-to-end portfolio, but I don't think they have a great end-to-end story. I don't think they are bringing these to market in a coordinated fashion in a way that I think they could and should. I forgot the name, but I thought they already had a NoSQL type database product, and so I guess I'm also curious your take on how they're going to reconcile that.
Yeah, I think specifically DataStax is useful because it's a vector database. So it's helpful for the vectorization specifically associated with AI models. Yes, IBM has a ton of databases already under management, no doubt. But I think the market, simply the market share associated with DataStax is helpful from an IBM perspective.
Sure.
I
Well,
totally
so the
agree
other
with you on
acquisition,
the acquisition side that IBM has struggled to translate great acquisitions into great ongoing products. I think they've done a better job under the Arvind Krishna era than they did under the Ginni Rometty era. And I think the Red Hat acquisition has been a little bit of a guiding light for them for IBM to figure out how to keep just enough independence to keep moving forward without just shoving them into an IBM bucket or box.
well, and I think not to get off track with this or off topic, but I think that's the challenge. I think, prior to the Red Hat acquisition, they had a pretty well known history of just sort of squashing the life out of the companies they'd acquire. The founders would leave, and Red Hat sort of flipped it upside down. Red Hat became the tail that wagged the dog and was seen as a wildly successful and in many ways reinvigorating IBM. And so I feel to a certain extent they've tried to replicate that model. The difference is that Red Hat was an 800-pound gorilla. They were a massive organization. They had a massive footprint in the market. And most of these other folks do not, right? These other acquisitions we're talking about. And they would stand a tremendous amount of benefit of having an integrated story that links all of this together. And so, that to me is the miss or the opportunity. I fully appreciate in companies as large as this, it's very difficult. And, given the two polar extremes, I would pick the one they're taking versus the integrated all costs and squash everything. But I still think there's a missed opportunity. Anyway, be that as it may, the other one is they completed the acquisition of HashiCorp, which I think, again, good. I love the play, and I love the play particularly for IBM in that IBM is central to almost anybody's hybrid IT strategy. Something I'm a firm believer is will remain the future for a long time. So I think this is good. I think that overall, it sort of puts this one to bed. I mean, did you have any other kind of take? You brought this one up. I mean, why are we talking about it other than the fact that it actually closed?
Yeah, I just think that overall infrastructure provisioning is a key challenge. IBM has obviously been focused on this as a hybrid cloud automation uh, and support company at this point. They realize their real challenge is they are trying to support 50,000 person enterprises with really complex hybrid infrastructure needs. That is what IBM at its core is good at in 2025. So let's go with that and keep bringing in pieces that help support that. I feel like they've also been looking at little tools like IBM Concert that have been helping to look at root cause analysis for infrastructure. But HashiCorp obviously is able to do a lot of these automation and infrastructure support capabilities at a much higher level, and has a lot of, again, adoption and an open source background that IBM has also been pursuing for a while.
One of the things I do think is interesting, going back to what I was just talking about, I think HashiCorp has the opportunity for them to be a bit of a tip of the spear. It is a much more strategic product
Mm-hmm.
that, based on where it sort of sits in the flow. And so it could be an interesting for them to be able to hook a bunch of other things to it and use it as an entry point. I think it's tough though, just because IBM is so entrenched that, these aren't like your normal sales motions where we're trying to talk to a new company, right? IBM does business with everybody already. And so I think
Mm-hmm.
that makes it sort of challenging.